Hi. So I'm just gonna wait for a minute or so. So if anyone wants to join, they can join in. And hi, welcome. I hope you guys are excited. I'm just gonna wait for someone from KDS team also to join because they'll be the best person to answer the queries. Thank you. That's so sweet of you. Wouldn't it be better if I could see you guys also? I think that would be great because right now it feels like I'm talking to myself. So hi Sanya, thank you for joining, and I'll leave most of the queries to you regarding the sizes and prices on the site. Uh, so I think we can start. So in case you don't know, I'm Nisha, the artist behind the account nishasehajpal.art. Today the main agenda for us during this live session would be to discover, for those of you who don't know about the Baohong paper, to get a look inside what's it all about. And okay, before I go further into detail, I hope the voice is clear because I got a comment last night regarding the voice, they couldn't hear it. Maybe it was in their app. So if it's okay, the voice is clear for you guys, I'll continue. Just give me a thumbs up or a yes, that'd be great. Okay. Yeah, as I was saying, we'll be looking into the Baohong paper. Thanks, Anya. Baohong paper that is available in India via KDS Art Store. Now this paper is made in China, and KDS Art Store is the only retailer that's importing the paper in India, and it's available on their site. So if you have any questions regarding their sizes or prices, just put it in the comment section, and Sanya would be answering those questions because I cannot look up to the site and check out the prices for you. If you want, you can go up to their site. I have pinned the comment and the link to their site. Also, there is a discount that's happening today. It's a 20% discount on all products that you can avail using the coupon code that is live20 at kdsartstore.com. So if you want to check out, it's a great deal. If you have something in your wish list that you've been waiting, or you want to buy, just go over there, look at it, and you can avail the discount. Okay, so as I said, the Baohong paper, it's manufactured in China. We are not hiding the fact about it. It's boldly typed over it. And it is one of the most competitively priced paper, 100% cotton paper that is available for, do you offer COD? I'm not sure. So Sanya can look into it. Okay. So before I get lost in all the comments, what's the difference between, yeah, we'll look at the differences between the academy and the artist grade. Okay, that's all sorted. Now I'll just turn over the camera so I can show you guys the things that are available and the ranges and the various types of paper that are available under the brand of Baohong. Just give me a second, okay? Just turn around the camera. Okay, I think it's clear now. I think it's fine for you guys, right? Should I turn it on, or I think I should turn it off right now because the glare is too much. Okay, so let's look at the various papers that are available under the Baohong brand. So this brand offers mainly two categories of paper. One is their academy range, which is mainly focused towards the student grade paper. It's like their student grade paper actually. It's focused towards the students who are trying out, who are new to the watercolor, medium, or people who have been trying the watercolor medium but have been trying it on cellulose based paper, which is usually what is offered by most of the brands as their which is the paper that is offered by most of the brands under their student range. It's either 100% cellulose paper or a mix of cellulose and 100% cotton. So the Academy range of Baohong paper, it's 100% cotton, and also it is for 300 GSM, which is like the standard that most of the artists use. The other range that is available under Baohong is their artist range, which caters to the more experienced. I think I'm gonna stop looking at the comments right now because it's mainly regarding the cost and sizes. So okay, these are the two categories that are available under Baohong: the artist grade and their Academy grade paper. And okay, apart from the more common blocks, these papers are available in sheets, and under both the categories, the Academy and artist grade paper comes in block format and the sheet format. The block format is glued on all four sides and it has a slight pocket on the top, so you can tear off the paper using a palette knife, or if you're that fancy, maybe a letter opener. I'm not that fancy, I don't have a letter opener, so I just use a palette knife. So yeah, these are the two categories that are available. Now both of them are 100% cotton, both of them are 300 GSM. The papers are either in block format or sheet format, and also their Academy paper comes in. If you want to try their Academy paper, it's also available in the sketchbook format, which I think most of the urban sketchers would find useful. Again, this is 100% cotton paper and 300 GSM. The quality of the paper is same Academy, whether it be in the block format or in the sketchbook format or in the sheet format. So I've got the sheet. Oh God, I'm sorry. So I've got the sheet formats that I could get my hands on for their artist range. As you can see, all these papers are color coded. Now we can talk about the color codes, but I think most of you would already know about the different grains of watercolor papers that are usually available across most of the brands. The red or the hot color is usually for their hot press paper. So in this Baohong range as well, they have orangish red paper that is for their hot press paper. The green is the cooler color, so it represents the cold press paper. In case you have any difficulty finding out, just go for the temperature of the paper. So hot, cold, and the rough grain is the middle. There's a slight color differentiation between the Academy range and the artist range, but it's distinctive. So you can clearly see that this is the rough grain, this is the cold press, this is the hot press, and again for the artist range it's okay. So, and the artist range, it's the same, red, green and yellow. The yellow one being the rough grain, the green one being the cold press, and the red one being the hot one is the hot press paper. So the smoothest one would be the hot press. With the slight texture comes the cold press paper, and for the rougher texture or the most textured paper, there's the rough grain. So these blocks come in across both the ranges. The sheets, number of sheets in both the blocks is 20, and so is the number of sheets in the papers also in the loose sheet format. So the pack of sheets consists of 20 papers, and the larger sheets that are available come in a pack of 10. Interesting way that you put it, as the hot, cool and rough mid-range. Yeah, it's easier because I think the ash also has similar color coding. So I go with the temperature of the color. It's easier to remember that way. Okay. As I showed you earlier, these are the sketchbooks. In case you are into urban sketching or plein air, one difference between the Academy paper that comes in the blocks or in the sheet format is that the grain on the back side of this paper are different from the front side of the paper. But in the sketchbook format, the back and the front of the sheet or paper is same, so you can paint on both the sides with the similar effect, but you cannot paint or get the similar effects in the blocks or loose sheets. So if again, these ones, the sketchbooks come in 24 sheets. They have 24 leaves. It's leaves, right? Yeah, 24 leaves, and which makes 48 sides. So if you're painting one painting on each side, you've got like 48 paintings. Yeah, we'll be looking into the textures. I'm not going to open up these ones because it doesn't make any sense, but yeah, we will be looking at the textures. Just give me a second, okay? I have a bit too much over here to arrange and juggle with. So I just want to have a last look. We can go over the similarities of these two ranges and maybe look at the differences. First of all, both of these papers are 100% cotton, unlike the student range of papers that is offered from other brands, which is mainly either 100% cellulose based or partly percentage of it is cellulose and partly it's cotton. Do these come in rolls? Actually, the Academy paper only in cold press format comes in rolls. It's a 10-meter roll. So if you are looking to practice a lot, and I mean a lot because 10 meter is a lot, it would be great. And I'm not saying that you cannot do serious paintings on Academy paper. It's just that Academy paper has slight differences when it comes to the performance compared to the artist grade paper. Student grade paper have 75% cotton mostly. 75% cotton would be a great thing if that was the case, but it's hardly the case. It's mostly 25% cotton if it's cotton, but most of the brands like even Saunders, Bockingford is their student range. Now I'm not dropping any brand names, but yeah, Bockingford being the student range, it's 100% cellulose. Yeah, I think in India, Brustro has some percentage when it comes to student grade paper with the composition of cellulose and cotton. So yeah, okay. Another similarity is that across all the papers, everything Baohong offers, it's the same quality. It's 300 GSM. The weightage remains the same. It's 100% cotton and it is 300 GSM. There is no variation. You won't get anything less than 300 GSM paper from them. And maybe the third similarity I could call it is that you can paint on both sides of the paper, but the back of the paper is way less textured than the front of the paper. Now let's look at the differences, like what exactly differentiates Academy paper from the artist grade paper, or why is artist grade paper better? First of all, the texture of artist grade paper is different from Academy grade paper. Like for example, when you look at the cold press paper from the Academy range and the artist range, the texture on the artist range paper is more pronounced than the Academy range paper. Then again, the reason being the Academy range paper is targeting the student market, or people who are looking to transition from cellulose based paper to 100% cotton paper. So it's easier for them to have a lesser pronounced texture to work with when you are transitioning or they're starting out. So yeah, that's one difference. Now when it comes to performance, let's say when we are working with wet on wet, which is like pretty common, is this paper archival? Actually, yes, this paper is archival. I do use them from professional work. I even use them from practice work. So if you're looking to practice new techniques or try out new things that you're not sure of, or you're testing out new things, new subjects, whatever. So I would go for academy range of paper to try out new things. And when I'm convinced that okay, I can work it out, it will work, then I move on to the artist grade paper and transfer it over there. Yeah, and I do sell artist grade paper. My work that is being done on artist grade paper, and even have submitted on exhibitions. So yeah, my main brands of paper that I use is like, I would say 85 to 90% the work I do is on Baohong paper. Other depends, varies on the mood that I'm in, because I'm always looking out to try out new paper, as anyone and every artist should. So yeah, we were talking about this differences when it comes to artist grade and academy grade paper. Now working wet on wet, the artist grade does perform a bit better. The color moves better. The dispersion of color is better. But again, compared to cellulose based paper, it is going to be better, even on academy grade. So when you compare these two 100% cotton paper, the dispersion and the movement of pigment is better on artist grade paper. Again, and the lifting similarly is easier. If you rework a lot, correcting mistakes on the artist grade paper is easier, and so is layering of colors. You can layer, like I have gone up to 6 or 7 layers on artist grade paper, while on this one 3, or maybe if you're pushing it you can go to 4. I find that academy range does the color. Academy range, yeah, although both are sized, academy range, I think there is a difference in the sizing in both of them. So this one works better because of the sizing, but that's my experience. I'm not talking on behalf of the company that they are saying this. I do feel it's because of the sizing that the pigment gets absorbed in the academy a bit more than it does on the artist grade paper. The pigment floats on this paper a lot more, and that is why it's easier to disperse or make it move and dance as per your wish. So I think we've covered most of it. The blocks, I've shown you the sheets. The academy range, if you want to try, they are available in block format. They are available in sketchbook format, in sheets, and in roll. And the artist grade is available in block format and in sheet format. That's a pack of 10 or 20. Pack of 10 if it's like large full imperial sheets. A pack of 20 maybe if it's like a quarter sheet. So you can look up or check out their website for more details on the sizing, prices. And I'm going to move these things along. Absolutely agree with what you say, the pigments get absorbed faster. Yeah, and that is the case with the papers that are not hard sized. Now I want to look at, as you suggested. Oh, it's heavy. Just give me a second, guys. Okay. I do want to show you the textures, as you were saying. I'll try to compare. Now this is Baohong. I'll try to compare it with some of the other sample of papers that I have from market. We'll compare it to a few others, and I'll compare the academy range also, because you wanted to see the texture for the academy range as well. Now, okay, first let me show you the difference in textures of both the cold press papers from the academy. I don't know if it's visible. Oh, it's flickering, right? Now this one is the artist grade paper. This is the Academy paper. Just give me a second, okay, because I can see the flickering happening. Is this better? Yeah, both of them are cold pressed, but I'm sure you can see the difference in green. This is more pronounced than this one. Yeah, the teeth and the green is more pronounced in the artist grade paper. This is a softer one. The Academy range of paper is the softer version of this one. Yeah, what's happening over here? But as I was saying, in the sketchbook, you can paint on both sides because the texture remains the same. Yeah, it's slightly brighter than the artist grade is slightly brighter than the Academy grade. Sorry guys, I'm working out with the lighting. We have some issue today with the electricity because we experienced quite a heavy rain, hail, thunderstorm, so gates of hell or heaven, whatever you want to call it, opened. And okay, so again I want to show you the texture. This one on the right being the artist grade and this is the Academy grade. Now I want to compare this artist grade paper with other 100% cotton papers that are available or that I have used, and let's see what if you haven't tried Baohong, and you might have tried some other of them, some other paper, so you can have a good point of comparison. Which is the smaller pad? Oh, that was the sketchbook. That's the Academy grade paper. The sketchbooks are not available in artist grade, but again they are pretty good for urban sketching or plein air painting because they're quite easy to carry, you know. It's like oh, thank you, my lovely non-paid intern helping me out. So yeah, now also these are like smaller pads if you don't want to use the sketchbooks, because sketchbooks, given that they have they are being hardbound, the stitching, the lining, everything adds to the cost. So if you don't want to go on the pricier version, you can look at the blocks if you don't mind using one paper, one sheet at a time. Does it ruin the painting on the other side when you try wet on the sketchbook? No, it doesn't. It actually doesn't, because I'll just, okay, let me just show you this. Now this one has got like 4 or 5 layers, but nothing, there's not even a single point of warp or cordle that you can see on the other side. The paper is pretty good, heavily sized in the sketchbook, so you can easily work on both the sides. Oh, I missed a question, sorry, I'm gonna go back for a minute. Does it ruin the painting on the other side when you try wet on wet? No, as I said earlier, this is wet on wet. I have mixed the colors wet on wet over here. It didn't ruin anything on the other side. It doesn't even show on the other side that something happened on the back of this. Is the paper good to use mixed media like acrylic inks, oxide inks, pigment powder, watercolor ground, granulating colors? Oh, you are speaking my language now. I love using all these techniques on this paper, but again it depends on what you're looking for. If you don't mind too much texture and you want to go for the rough one, you can try these techniques on rough paper. But as for me, yeah, I'm dancing all over the studio. There's just so much stuff to show to you guys, I know. So as you see over here, I've used like heavily used acrylic inks on this is hot press paper, and you can see the pigments, everything separating, showing properly, and it dried flat. It's a block, and tada, academy paper. So it's a hot press academy paper, and I prefer hot pressed if I'm going to use too much texture, because too much texture on an already quite heavily textured surface is an overkill for me personally, but again, that's me. As we were looking at comparing some other papers with this one, I think, to my inexperienced eye, I think the closest I can come, like this is Bockingford, this is Waterford, this is warmer. Waterford is warmer than the artist grade Baohong. Clairefontaine, I don't know, they call it cold press, but there is actually no grain on this paper. I have no idea why they call this cold press. It's more like a hot press surface. So I'm just gonna put it aside. This is Lana Aquarelle. I can show the texture. Can you see the texture? I'm not really sure if it's visible over here or on the back side. Right? But it is pretty patterned, equally patterned. You can see the pattern of the paper over here. Again, I think this one, Canson Heritage, is whiter, brighter than Baohong. Waterford is warmer. I won't compare it. Now I've got Winsor and Newton. I think this is Winsor and Newton. Yeah, Winsor and Newton. Like, the texture of the paper is quite similar, but the brightness, I think Winsor and Newton is brighter. Again, this is cold press, but yeah, if you look closely, still the texture and the grain on the artist grade paper is more. I'm just comparing all the cold press papers that I could find in my studio. Okay, so this is the Arch one that I was telling you about. Now this is the closest when you compare the color and maybe the grain as well. But again, I would say the cold press paper from the Baohong's artist range is still more textured than the Arch cold press 300 GSM. I don't know what's with the flickering. It's happening at times and then it stops. So this one is Arch, this one is artist grade Baohong. I'm just trying to show you guys, if you haven't tried the Baohong paper, what is the closest comparison that you can make. In case you have tried Arch, I would say it performs pretty similar to Arch, although I would say that from people who have been using Arch for a pretty long time do say that lifting and wet on wet techniques are easier to perform on Arch, but I don't know, I would say it's pretty comparable. Yeah, it does look quite similar. Oh, thanks Lena. I could use more votes of confidence because I haven't tried Arch much, but because the first time I tried Arch, it turned out that the stock was pretty old. Yeah, that's another thing that you should always be careful about whenever you're ordering paper. Even if it's on discount, don't be impulsive and go, oh yeah, I have to buy it, it's on such a huge discount. Always ask your art supplier to tell you about the manufacturing date of the paper, or if it's like a couple of years old, don't go for it, don't buy it, because the chances are the sizing on those papers would be on the verge, if not already spoiled. The sizing on the paper degrades over time, so it's better Which brand of alcoholic inks? I don't use alcohol inks. I only use acrylic inks or watercolor inks very, very rarely. But yeah, most of my mixed media work is in watercolor and acrylic inks. I don't use alcohol inks. So yeah, I think that's all the information I could give you about Baohong paper. In case you have any questions regarding the paper right now, or anything that I might have missed, let me know and I'll be happy to answer them if I can, to the best of my ability. Acrylic inks, which brand? Okay, I mainly use FW acrylic inks. They are more pigmented. I have tried Liquitex, but I didn't like them. They don't seem very pigmented to me. So yeah, Daler Rowney FW. How will you rate this paper? Which paper? This one? See, most of my works are done on this paper. The recent ones especially, I've been using full sheet of artist grade Baohong paper, cold press. So I love it. I don't know if you like my work or not. It works for me. Please tell about Chitrapat paper. Honestly, I haven't tried Chitrapat paper. If anyone has, they are more than welcome to give in their input right now. I did try the khadi paper, but I'm so sorry. I know they are handmade and everything made in India, but I did face some sizing issues with them. They are not equally sized, and that's again understandable since they are handmade paper. Chitrapat I haven't tried, so I cannot say much about it. Absolutely love Baohong. Yay, me too. So, any last questions regarding the paper? Or then we can move on to the quick demo and try out the paper and discover more about how it performs. I have tried Chitrapat but found the large A3 horrible, completely bad with sizing. I don't know, is Chitrapat also handmade paper? Good for 2 washes max. Okay. Then I think Chitrapat can be compared to the academy grade paper of Baohong, if that's the thing. Not about the sizing. The sizing on the academy grade paper is pretty good. There's no issues with the sizing. It's just it is less heavily sized than the artist grade paper. But I think both of them are internally as well as surface sized, so they do perform better. Cold press or hot press is better for practice. Hot press is very smooth surface, so if you're doing line and wash or pen and ink drawing where you need to sketch or use a pen or make a lot of marks, it's better to use hot press paper. But if you're going for like pure watercolor where you're going to do washes and layering, cold press is better. Go for the cold press one. The paper tore off every time when I put my masking fluid in the painting. Yeah, that's the thing with handmade paper. They don't handle masking tape or masking fluid. Can you easily remove masking fluid and masking tape from Baohong? Oh, yes. I constantly use masking fluid, not masking tape though, because I paint from border to border. I don't mask. Let me press it as hard as I can. Okay, gone, nothing. So yeah, you can remove the masking tape pretty easily, even from the academy. If you like, I can show you over here on the academy grade as well. I've got the masking. Stick it. No damage. And yes, I do use masking fluid quite a lot in my paintings. I did show you guys how to use masking fluid, or how I prefer to use masking fluid yesterday in my preparation session. So if you want, you can check it out on my profile. I face trouble with masking tape for Canson paper. Oh, I have used Canson heritage paper, but I don't know which Canson paper you're talking about. I haven't faced any tear regard when it comes to masking tape or masking fluid, but maybe it can be because of the batch also, because masking tape and masking fluid, when it comes to batch sizing, they will tear off the paper. So this happened to me when I was painting Tiger's Nest, the first version. So I used the masking fluid quite a lot. My profile name, it's nishasahajpal.art. So acrylic inks you use mentioned. Dale Rowney FW. Yes, most handmade papers don't work well with masking tape and fluid. Yeah, Lisa, I completely agree. That's what I was saying. They don't do well. And if you are like me, using quite a lot of masking tape, not masking tape, but masking fluid. Like even over here, I applied the masking fluid with you guys yesterday. So yeah, I use them quite a lot in any of my paintings. They are the best way to keep the whites of the paper and paint without any fear of like ruining. Now I'm gonna move to the demo session and get my things out, whatever I need to do this little demo. So for any of my painting, I start with putting down a bath towel, because that's the most important thing for me, because the amount of water I use for the first layer is horrendous. Anyone would be crying right now if they knew how much water I used. For maybe a full sheet of painting, it would be like a bucket load of water that would be on the floor. My towel would be soaking wet. But this, when you're working with sheets, having a moist towel underneath your sheet helps in keeping your sheet wet for longer. You don't even have to wet the back of your sheet for sticking it to the surface. It doesn't matter. As long as you have a moist cloth or a tape or a towel underneath your sheet, you don't need to stick your sheet to the surface using a masking tape. I don't stick my sheets. I'll show you an example. I paint from corner to corner and I let the painting dry flat. So even if there's slight buckling, when you let it dry flat, it stays flat. So the next day when you come, there is no buckling. I haven't used masking tape to tie down the sheet. I haven't wet the back of the paper to make it stay flat. Just let me know if I'm rambling on and on, because I want to give you as much information, as much tips that I can, that I have learned from my meager 4 years of painting. So yeah, I'm just a baby. Okay, let's keep the questions coming, guys. I'm all for the questions, as many as you want. Ask away. I've got my 2 jars of water, clean water. Now this is my usual regular prep. I've got 2 spray bottles, and by the end of it they might be completely empty. The colors, as I explained yesterday, I'll just be using a simple triad of ultramarine blue, yellow ochre and Indian red. So you keep a single sheet on towel. Yeah. This is not the regular size that I work on. Most of my like final or sellable pieces are done on loose sheets, not on blocks, and they are bigger than this. They are either half imperial, that is 22 inches by 15 inches, or full imperial, which I recently have been exploring quite a lot. They are 30 by 22 inches. Is the paper you're using a block? Yeah, I just opened this artist grade cold press block. That's why I was comparing the cold press paper. I've used. Okay, yesterday I did this painting, the same reference photo that I shared, that you might already have sketched out. So I did this painting in 30 minutes or 40 minutes. So this one was done on their Academy paper. The same size, everything is similar, just the grade of the paper. This is Academy that I did yesterday. Now today I wanted to do it on the artist grade paper and compare it side by side, how the experience was, and let you guys see how the color flows, what happens. I guess if it's a single sheet, it's better to wet front and back both. Actually, if you wet the back, I find the paper becomes more soft. I don't know how the better word to put it to, but yeah, it's too soft or too delicate. I don't like that texture. I like my paper to be hardy, to feel like it stands on its own. So I just wet the front of the paper. But of course, if it's like 45 degrees that it usually gets in the peak of the summers over here, I have to sometimes wet the back of the paper. Otherwise, no, not usually. I don't wet the back of the paper. It's not required. Also, putting a towel on the surface. Mushy. Ah, yes, mushy. It goes, you know how the peas and all your vegetables go after they've been boiled for too long. Yeah, that's what happens to the paper that has been wet or kept wet for too long from both the sides. So let me know if you guys are painting along with me, or I'll try to keep up with the comments, but it's gonna be difficult right now. But I'll try my best. I hope I didn't miss any information regarding the paper, but if you want to know something, you can ask away. So most of my brushes right now that I'm using are either silver brush or rosemary. I love both these brands, and again, these brands are available at KDS Art Store. Again, how cute is this one? This little cutie. Do you guys also talk to your art supplies, or am I the only crazy one over here? So, shall we begin? Any of you guys painting with me? Okay, another thing that I wanted to show you. See how the graphite is just moving? By the time I'm finished painting this, there won't be much of a pencil mark remaining. Even after the first wash, most of the pencil marks would be gone. They're just floating off the paper. That's why I prefer to use water-soluble graphite. Let me move this away from here because it's gonna wet the other painting. Yeah, this is another usage of having a cloth or a towel underneath your painting surface. I can rub off the brush anywhere I want. I don't have to carry a cloth or a tissue paper in my left hand. My left hand is free to move the paper. Okay. And I usually paint on a flat surface. There is no angle. Some might say I'm not using the gravity, but instead I'm using the gravity to the best and in almost every direction that I can, not just like this. I'm using it like this, any way that I want. water soluble graphite. Yes, I think it's available, if I'm not wrong, it's Derwent Graphitone it's called. It's in 3 colors, if you can call it, or in values. There's a light wash, which gives a very light tone to your sketches. Then there's a medium, then there's a dark one that you can use even to do your tonal studies, because they wet and so they work as a liquid graphite, if you can call it. You can sketch out with your subject or whatever the study is, and see the tonal ranges as well. So it's a nice tool to have for quick tonal studies. Okay, as I was saying, the block is actually glued on 4 sides, and there's a slight pocket over here. Will this be saved, please? It all depends on Carious. If I tank it, or if I'm being too naughty or bad, they will not save it. In fact, they will kick me off their team also. I'm just kidding. Yeah, this will be saved. No warping. Yeah, it is warping a bit. I won't lie, this one is warping a bit because it is glued. It doesn't have any space to expand. Unlike the sheet doesn't warp even if I'm wetting it on one side, and that's true story. So if I'm wetting the sheet even on one side, it won't warp because it has room to expand. This one doesn't have room to expand, so this is going to warp a little. But again, this will dry flat since it is a block. Just gonna give it a second to absorb the water, and meanwhile I'll just prep my pigments. Just 3. Now when I pick up the pigments, it's usually like this. This is Indian Throne, this is Ultramarine. So even if I go like this, it's bound to pick up some of Indian Throne. So it's good in a way that it's not a single pigment every time, but if it's not exactly Ultramarine, I'm sorry, because the chances are I am picking up a little bit of Indian Throne. I need a little bit of water. Just give me a second, guys. Yep, sorry about that. I'm not used to talking so much for this long. Usually I just sit in my little studio, have the music on. Again, this is another weird thing. I don't paint to the sound of my voice. It's usually Billie Eilish or some other artist. James Arthur has been there on my playlist for quite some time. So yeah, I don't know. I know someone who plays an Avenger movie in the background whenever she's painting. We are quirky as artists, aren't we? I'm gonna wet it again slightly just to even up the dampness across the paper. I would love to know, what do you guys listen to when you're painting, or do you paint in silence? I can never paint in silence. Right now I sound crazy to myself talking to myself actually. I'm talking to myself. So I don't do this usually. I've got my paints ready. Let's go. I'm gonna stick to the same format. Let me have that. I'll have it over here. How scary is this? I'm just throwing paint around. But you know what? Already I can see the difference. The paint is moving better. I mean, the way I am used to seeing it move. It's a lot more controlled, or I wouldn't say controlled, it's more free. The movement is as you would expect from, or maybe it's just me because I'm used to working with this paper. See, there's a warping happening over there. Love what is happening. The shade is beautiful. This is just a little damp goat hair brush that I'm just using to move the pigments around. Now if I want to remove paint from any area like this one, I don't want paint over here. This is a natural sponge. I'm not using the melamine sponge, it's not required. Especially on wet, I wouldn't use the white melamine sponge because the paper is soft right now. I don't want to damage the surface of the paper using a melamine sponge. Just adding shadows. I think I forgot that we experienced rain and thunderstorm and hailstorm today. The paper is gonna stay wet for longer. Love the way you squeezed out the paint from the brush. Now that's another way to get rid of your fear of blank paper. Just squeeze some paint out, because as long as you have a wet paper, I love this happening. You can move the paint, you can remove the paint, you can manipulate the paint as long as the paper is wet, with a good 100% cotton paper, not with handmade paper. I'm sorry. Where do you get natural sponge? I think they're available at most of the art stores. Natural sponges are available at, I don't know where I got mine from. I've got like 3 or 4 different ones. I'm not trying to add more moisture over here. I'm trying to remove the moisture if I can, because it's going to stay wet for a longer period of time, and I don't want to use the hair dryer because I don't know if Instagram cancels out the noise of the hair dryer or not, like it does on the Zoom meetings. Let's see. again, as someone has pointed out, that the colors do seem brighter, because I use the same colors in the on the Academy range, but I don't know, they seem brighter over here. I thought there wouldn't be much difference, but there is. I love it when the colors mingle and interact on the paper. It looks more natural rather than having to paint within the line. Okay, this is this color, this is this color. That's the magic of watercolor, having things happening on the paper in front of your eyes. Also, for the first wash, I prefer to use natural hair brushes, although I'm a sucker for natural hair brushes. I don't know when do I use synthetic ones, but yeah, it's better to use natural or soft hair brushes when you are doing wet on wet, so that you don't have any harsh pickups or yeah, I do put the shadow paint or the shadow color below the actual shadow line, because I do want the subject and the shadow to mingle. It shouldn't be like you've put on a sticker on top of a shadow. They should be one. At least that's what I feel. I don't want any hard edges. I did struggle a lot earlier when it came to hard edges, because I absolutely hate them, and they are necessary. So sometimes they are necessary to pinpoint your main subject or your focal interest. Okay, this is not going to do it. So much moisture over here. I'm gonna... Is it too loud? Sorry, I went on without any... Okay, I'm just gonna use a hair dryer, not like this on top of the paper, but parallel to the paper, because I don't want to damage the fiber of the paper, but it will dry up. Yeah, my sponge went running somewhere. I have to pick up another one. So let's see if we can pick up some of the lighter areas, how it does. Again, I'm not too worried about it. I'm gonna bring in some. See if it's working. It's just too much moisture right now in the air. Otherwise, we would have seen some cauliflowers happening over here right now. Let's see if we can make it happen over here. Now, if you're wondering about why am I doing it like this and over here I'm doing it like this, it's because I want to echo the shape of the subject that is closest. So if it's like a vertical or a glass shaped, I would echo it in my watermarks or cauliflowers, as most of you call it. I'll just go back and look if there are any questions. Okay, no questions. Okay, we'll just continue. So as you can see, most of my drawing or sketch is gone. I'm just working on a hint and what might be or what could be or what should be. It's all what if. And there's no like fixed science or step why I'm doing this. It's just how it feels to me. It feels right that this is the shape it should be. This is how it should move. The paper is damp over here, so adding more liquid or water to this side will create a hard edge or the pattern of cauliflower. Now it's up to me where I want the hard edge to end or continue. I can move it up here, make it disappear. I like that. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'm having fun. If you're painting along, I hope you are too. I'm gonna go add some more dark over here. Again, I'm sticking to the 3 colors that I decided I would. See, this is this version I was talking about earlier. This is not so prominent. Again, there it is there, but and not so much as a whoosh that happens in the artist grade. Yeah, I'm coming up with terms and terminologies that is unheard of. Again, it's just about the play of damp, wet, the level of moisture, because now this shape is echoing this shape, the shape of the feather, and I don't know if you can see, is this, so this shape over here, the shadow shape, is echoing the shape of the glass pulp. Or what paper do you use? I usually use artist grade Baohong paper. Like 85-90% of my work is done on this particular paper. Not block, I prefer using sheets because they are more economical. And also I hate when people paint hard shadows. Like, there are hard shadows, but not very often. You hardly see hard shadows when you're painting still life subjects that have been placed inside your home. You always see soft cast shadows and form shadows. The paper is still wet. I had to dry it off just so I could show you guys how I get my watermarks. Because many of you couldn't understand how I get my watermarks, and it is strange because if you see most of the artists, they try and avoid watermarks. They try and get as smooth as a wash as they possibly can. Watermarks are a sign of failure. Not always, I love them, and so do many other artists, but yeah, if you're trying to learn watercolor, the first thing you are taught is how to avoid watermarks, but they are so pretty. Why would you even want to avoid them? Like, look at what is happening over here. Yeah, thanks, Lisa. They are lovely, aren't they? They add so much character. Like, it shows you aren't afraid to use water in your watercolor. If you're just using plain washes, it's like you can do that with any other medium. What's the point of doing watercolors? But again, that's my opinion. You might disagree, and that's okay. You know, another thing that is happening due to this, I don't have any height or structure on this side. It's a very inverted L or a mirrored L of a composition. But if I add something over here, it gives a ghost or a shadow and reiterates this form. And reiterates this form over here. I'm just trying to bring in the shadow, just so that they look like they are shadows of the feather also. How many layers do you generally do for the shadow? It depends. I can go, do you call this one layer, or how many layers do you call this one? It's still one layer. It's still happening. It's the first wash. I haven't, it's not second wash yet. It's just first wash. So yeah, if you're talking about adding color, I think three, 4, depending on how dark I want to go. 3, 4 layers. Yeah. But if it's a soft shadow, then maybe 2, even single one. See, again, that's the beauty of working with a very simple composition and reference picture. I don't have any color reference. I don't have any form or strict reference that I only have to do this. I am stuck with this. I am not stuck with anything. It's a simple black and white photograph. I can use any colors I want. I can add as many backgrounds. See, if I wanted to add a background tile pattern, maybe I can add that over here. So that's what I do. I usually work from 4 or 5 references or ideas that are merged together. Sometimes I ask my unpaid intern to do it on the Photoshop thing, because I have no patience for Photoshop. So I give him the directions. I want this, could you do this? And if he doesn't get it on one go, guess who's not getting dinner? She's using, oh, thank you, Lisa. I forgot to thank you yesterday. You were so helpful, even yesterday, answering all the questions that I had been asked on repeat. I get lost looking at the repeat questions. Can you see how easy it is to lift? I don't think I'm going to get any cauliflowers in the shadow area. It's too wet. The surface I had tried. Yeah, it's still slightly damp. It's cold to the touch. But I feel like I can add one more layer at the background. Let's do it. What's the worst that can happen? Right? Because I think I removed some color when I was... Again, I am in control. The paper, the paint, everything, I am in control. The paint won't intrude over this line because I have moved the excess paint over there. Now that's gravity in action. And if I want to be more precise, more sure, although I don't know, I really like that it is blurring over here. Again, reiterating the form, the shape, the pencil line, everything is gone. I don't have any reference. I know many many of you would like to go with hard edges, like okay, this should be a line, this should be a curve. I want my subjects, my paintings to have a feel of ether, disappearing feel. Like they are there, but they might not be for very long. So if you want to catch a glimpse, look at them now. Look at them now. So what do you want to say with your painting defines your style, your way of capturing your subjects in your paintings. What do you want to say? I want to say look at me now, because I'm not gonna be there for very long, very much longer. It's now. Oh, I forgot to ask, did you guys hear the hair dryer when it was buzzing? Because I'm not sure if IG cancels it out. So let me know, because I might have to use it again. Did you hear the buzzing of the hair dryer? I love the softness of your work. Thank you. Thank you, Madhushree. Yes, I did use masking fluid, and I showed you guys how I did it yesterday, and it's live, and the live was saved in my account. So if you want to see some tips and tricks how I use masking fluid, you can check it out on my account. When I do animals, then I care about details, but still life I'm more cautious. Okay, even with animals, I like to capture the essence or pick up one or two distinguishing factors about that animal. Like if I paint an elephant, for example, I want the ear to be as precise or as defined, or the trunk maybe of the elephant to be defined. Like one or two things, not the whole creature to be still and okay, this is a rigid creature. I don't want that. I want even my animals to fade away. The same feeling, it's the same feeling that I want to convey with the still life or with the florals. I want the same feeling to be conveyed even with my animals. Look at me now, look at me now. I think as a child I wasn't given much attention. So right now I'm screaming for attention, or at least my subjects are screaming for attention. Look at me now, look at me now. Yeah, look at me hanging all the dirty laundry in the public. My mom would be so proud. Okay, I think this is drying now. I'm just gonna add few lines, few details. I'm not worried about adding everything, because you know what you're seeing. Your mind is filling up the blanks. You know that's glass, there's something reflective surface is there. Also, this is like I'm working on a limited brush thing right now. Usually I'm like a Wolverine. I've got 7, 8, no, not 7, 8, I don't have that big hands, but 4 or 5 brushes in my left hand, filled with either pigments, or one is dry, one is wet, ready to go whenever I want to use them. So I'm not gonna bring the whole thing down here. It's pointless. How long has it been since I started painting this? How do you gauge the wetness of the paper? Now that comes with practice, practice, practice. I can tell you my paper is this wet, or this is what I'm seeing, but unless you see it for yourself, you won't know. You need to know for yourself. You have to know your paper intimately. Intimately? Yeah. With one brush I'm applying color, the other one I'm dispersing color or softening the edges if I don't like it somewhere. Again, it's too wet right now. Even for the feather, although this side is white, even in the reference picture, it's not completely white. It has some warmth to it. Is this it? So when it comes to edges in my work, I love to leave the work with the idea of an edge. That, yeah, there might be an edge. Or your brain is telling you that there's the edge. I don't have to like mark the whole edge or give a hard line to tell you that it's an edge. It's just too wet right now. Unpredictable weather. I'm sure most of you already have painted at least a couple of feathers. I'm new to feathers. I only discovered painting feathers recently when I picked up a feather. It's a duck feather, by the way, or a swan feather, I don't know which one. They were both living side by side. So yeah, I picked it up despite being told not to. I wrapped it up in a tissue and brought it home. See, I'm still able to manipulate the paint if I want some areas to be light. I'm not even rubbing it, it's just another thing. I've noticed most of the artists paint from left to right. I have no idea why do I always drop the colors first on the right hand side and then come to the left hand side. It's difficult, but I don't know, that's how I work. I always tend to gravitate towards the Do you imagine finish work before you start? No. No. If I did, that would be great, but I don't know. I like surprises in my work. I have a few quirks that I do tend to do every time I am painting. I choose the color palette beforehand. I don't work on surprise color palette, but yeah, the surprise is like, is this going to work like this? Is this going to be lifted like this? Is this going to come along? No, I cannot imagine this. I cannot picture the final painting, because these things happen in your painting. It's the gift that you get when you're working with watercolor. I think the forms are done. The main thing is try to connect the background with your subject. That's the one advice I can give you for sure, because if you're trying to loosen up your painting and you're painting within the lines, try to blur the lines. If you want to loosen up, try to blur the lines between the shadow, the subject, the background, the subject. Everything needs to be, try and blur it. To what degree, that is up to you. I tend to blur it a lot, but if you feel uncomfortable, start small. Trust that you will still see the subject. It won't disappear. Okay, I've tried a lot. I have reached the end of what I could do wet on wet, but the paper is not drying. So sorry guys, this time I'm gonna give you a warning. I will be using the hair dryer. So cover your ears, run for cover. Here I go. about that. It's still slightly cold to touch, but let's see. I hate the sound of hair dryer. It's only for emergency purposes, like today when it's too humid. Did I miss any questions? Okay. Oh, thank you. Hi, Apeksha. I'm so glad you could join. So, still quite cold. But let's go. It's just paper. And I do vary between the reds and the blues, the warm or the cooler tone. There's no rhyme or rhythm or where I'm going to use which color. It's just by feel. Some things are just so difficult to explain to others why you're doing things a certain way. It's just because it just feels right. Do you guys see how I use the bath towel that I put under the surface? I just use it to rub or okay. Now it's up to you how much detail is too much detail or how much do you want to add. Because right now all I'm doing is adding the final touches, getting the darkest darks, and just to re-establish the idea of what the subject is, what I want to be seen by the viewer. I'm so thirsty right now. My throat is completely dry. Again, make sure your brushwork is not just like this or like this. It's not supposed to be in single direction. Oh, thank you. Make sure you move your brush. If you're moving it horizontally, move it vertically. If you're pushing it away, you remember to pull it towards you also, because I tend to push. A lot of movement in my brushwork is push movement, while I've heard that most of the artists tend to work in a pull movement, like they tend to, like, I don't know how to show you guys, pull the color or the paint towards them. I don't know, this feels unnatural to me. I'm more like, okay, push it away. But you cannot just work in one direction. You have to be aware of everything that is happening on your paper, with your brush, with your paint. Also, most of my reference pictures or subjects don't have like a fixed light or shadows, so I tend to work with my own imaginary light that I tend to use it from or tend to add from the left side. Most of my subjects or most of my paintings, if you see, the light source is on the left. Even if in the reference picture it isn't, I am more comfortable if I add the light source coming from the left side of the paper, because it's easier to remember for me. I don't lose track, because if I am using multiple photographs, the chances are many of my subjects wouldn't be getting light from the same direction. So this way I can easily keep them in check. Also, shadows are a great way to connect these two subjects. Yeah, you can connect them with light, but you can't connect them with shadows better. At least that's my experience. I think it's almost done. I can go and tinker on with it for quite a while, but there's no point. So when I'm fading the color over here, I'm trying to tell that you can think that this is the feather, this is the glass, but you don't know where exactly the feather ends and the glass begins. They are merging. Because if I get a hard line over here, I would lose some sleep, serious sleep over it. Do you follow the reference to a T or do your own thing? As I said, my references for this one, because I was sharing it with you guys. You guys had this reference with you. I tried to follow at least as much as I could. It's not 100%, it's not a realistic painting. I'm not a realist painter. But yeah, the light source, because I took the photograph, I know where I wanted to place the subject. I decided what to do with the placement. So yeah, this one is just for reference, but usually when I'm working for like my usual paintings, it's like 4 or 5 subjects that I paint together and imagine them together. So like the recent daffodils ones, there was like 4 or 5 daffodils that I did sketch out, or I did place on the paper where they should be. But apart from them, there were daffodils that were happening in the wash, they were occurring, or when I laid down the first yellow paint on the paper during the first wash, I saw a few daffodils. Oh, I'm so sorry. I painted tulips, not daffodils. The yellows got me. So when I painted the tulips, I sketched like 4 or 5 of them. But apart from them, others were imagined or manifested on the paper after the first wash. I'm using the dried masking fluid to take off the masking from my paper, because I don't want to hurt my finger or add moisture or oil from my hands to the paper. I gave this tip yesterday why I use it. It's easier, it doesn't blister your finger, and it's more efficient when it comes to removing the masking from your painting. See, it's wet now, the color is spreading. I should have dried it completely, but I'm impatient right now. It's not my usual time to paint. I paint during day before, like 4 p.m. is my cutoff time. But I started after 4 today. Okay, this paper is so perfect for wash painting. The effect gives is amazing. Actually, most of the 100% cotton papers do give a very nice wash effect. But the texture, it depends what you like to do or what kind of texture you like. See, I haven't painted anything over here, but just a few highlights, and you think that that's the edge of the feather. So also, if you don't have masking fluid or somehow don't want to use it, first of all, it's really useful. It gives you great freedom when you're doing washes. You don't have to worry about keeping your highlights white. You can just put the masking fluid on, save your highlights, and it dries within like 5 minutes, like hardly 5 minutes. It dries out and you can start painting. So if you enjoy adding color to the paper as much as I do, this gives you a little buffer to not worry about keeping the papers white. Okay, I think it's gone completely. Now, it didn't leave the sticky residue on the paper, it's all on this little thing. So you use acrylics. Okay, if you are going to use acrylics, it becomes mixed media in my opinion. So if you're selling it, you might want to add it to the information, but if you're using white gouache, it's still a water-based media, but white gouache is still acceptable when it comes to adding highlights to the watercolor painting. But yeah, when you're like practicing, sketching out, doing your own thing, not worrying about telling other people what is happening and what is what, you can use whatever you like. You can use acrylic, white acrylic, you can use white gouache, you can even use like this uniball pigment ink. I think this is acrylic ink again. Yeah, but this is a white acrylic ink. The bulb is not looking good after adding the highlight. Oh, you don't like this one? Okay, it's okay. I don't know if you're talking about your bulb or my bulb, or but I'm just gonna see, there isn't much of a hard edge because of the way I applied masking fluid. But if I even want to go and smoothen out some of the areas, I can go in now with the eradicator brush. Now, this is a lifesaver if you ask me. This one is from Rosemary & Co. Okay, now we lost the electricity. I'm so sorry, I warned you about this. It's happening. We have terrible weather conditions today. It will be back in a minute or so, but please bear it with me, guys. I'm so sorry about it. Can't be helped. My bulb. Oh, thank God. I thought this one sucks because I was thinking, oh, this went great. I was nervous about the demo. Shit might happen. Oh, shit. I'm cursed. No. I might mess it up. Ignore the curse word, guys. So I thought I might mess it up, but I was thinking that this is going great, but then you went ahead and said that the bulb's looking not too good. I thought you were talking about my bulb. See, it's all about practice. You might think that this is great, but you know what? After I look back at my paintings like 2 or 3 months later, I hate my paintings that I did. I hate my paintings after 2 or 3 months, unless they're like extremely, extremely good or I emotionally connect with that painting. Most of the paintings that I did a couple of years back even, they make me cringe. I cannot look back at my paintings and go, oh wow, because I was cocky as hell back then, because when I started I thought I was the best thing that was happening. Everything that I was doing was, nothing could go wrong. Now I doubt everything that I'm doing. I think that's the curse of growing up in any field or in life. As a child or as a beginner, you have no fear. You are invincible. But as you learn things, as you open up to new ideas, new opinions, or criticism especially, you're filled with self-doubt, and it's not so good. Your monks are the one I can never forget. I think I sold that painting recently, so I didn't like that painting. And I know I'm weird. I connect with painting for different reasons. I connect with a painting where I love the first wash. In that painting, although the concept, it evolved over time. The monks were not initially in the plan. The plan initially was all about painting the tiger's nest and painting the illusion of mountains and atmosphere. The monks were added later on because I thought the painting was already ruined. What could go worse? Let's practice more. Let's make more mistakes. So that's how the monks were added. And someone liked it and someone adopted that painting. So I hope they love it and cherish it. It's a good painting, but I don't know. What else? I think the shadows are good, the highlights are good. Now shall we compare with the that's why I say I liked how you brought it back. Oh, you saw the transition. Actually, I painted two Tigonist paintings. Oh, I keep moving the camera. Sorry. I painted two Tigonist paintings. The first one was actually on a bad sizing paper. So that one I can't even list. So that one was a practice painting. The other one where the monks were added was actually supposed to be the final painting, and yeah, it happened. I love the painting you did with white lace and cherries. Oh, thank you. That's done, I think, again on this paper itself, if I'm not wrong, on Baohong paper, Artist Grade. Because most of my recent full sheet of paintings that I've been doing are on Artist Grade paper. So let's compare these two papers and how I thought, because of course you didn't paint on both the papers, so I thought they went. This one is on the Academy grade, again cold press, same size. Both the papers are cold press. One is Academy, one is Artist grade. This one was painted yesterday. This one I painted today. See, apart from the humidity factor that I faced today, and I didn't get much of cauliflower that I wanted to echo over here, I do think this one is brighter. This one think this one is brighter. The colors do seem brighter on this one. I've used the same 3 colors because I didn't want to I wanted to see the complete difference in them with as much limited probabilities. So the colors are same, but yeah, the blues shine on this one, even the yellow part. I think this one is a bit, but again, I did face difficulty yesterday while I was trying to lift out the colors over here. Slight difficulty, but yeah, overall I would say the performance of artist grade is definitely like 3-4 times better than the artist grade on the academy grade. The academy one doesn't look bad at all. No, actually it isn't. It is 100% cotton paper. It is, if you want, you can do professional work on academy paper also. It's just about the performance, the layering, the lifting, few of the techniques that work better on the artist grade, and more enjoyment. Okay, the feel of joy is more on this one. I felt more joy working on this, and not just because you guys have joined me but yeah, this one didn't work with me as much as I wanted. I could feel some resistance from this paper, while this one was working well. And for someone who was asking how long it stays wet, it's still cool to touch, and I have dried it twice, so you can imagine how long it stays wet. I feel both are looking amazing. See, again, it's about what you are looking for in your paper, or what techniques you want to try in your paper. Difference is in process. Yes, the difference is definitely in the process. You can feel some resistance, of course. If you give even a cellulose based paper to an accomplished artist, or even a chitrapat as we were talking about before, or khadi paper to a very accomplished artist, and even with the student grade colors, that artist would produce something that is beautiful to you and me. But when you ask that person, did you enjoy the painting process, he might say no. So paper, it is more about the process. And same is with the pigments, same is with the brushes. You have so many papers in the market right now, which are 100% cotton, which are artist grade. But what floats your boat? What makes you happy? What makes your process more enjoyable? That is the paper that you go with. I'm just tinkering with the whole thing again and again. I'll keep doing that as long as it's in front of me. But okay, again, as we were talking about, I think someone raised the question about removing masking fluid from this academy grade. There is no problem removing the masking fluid from academy grade paper as well. As you can see, I removed the masking fluid pretty easily. I think with any non-handmade paper, I haven't faced any masking issues unless the sizing has gone bad. So yeah, removing the masking fluid is not a problem with most of the artist grade papers. But yeah, as far as we were talking about comparing the performance, you can see even over here, this is the academy grade, how it disperses. So dispersion is not a problem, it's just that this disperses a little slightly sluggishly, not as eagerly as this one. This one moves like it's helping you, it wants to help you. This one is like, okay, I'll go along for the ride if you insist. First one is more detailed. This one, the one I painted yesterday, yeah, it is more detailed, because anytime you're painting a subject for the first time, you try to capture as much as possible. With the second time, you are more confident, you know, okay, this is enough. So this happens with the florals as well. First time you paint, at least first time I paint, I feel like I should add this, that, everything. But after some time, it's like, no, it's enough. I don't need that much. So if you guys have any questions regarding the paper, I think I've shown the performance. You guys, if you want, you can get the paper for yourself and judge it. But if you're used to getting like harsh cold press paper, I would suggest, or even the rough textured paper, I would suggest go for the cold press of this one, artist grade Baohong, rather than going for the rough grain, because it is quite a curve working with the rough grain of this paper. It's quite prominent, as you could see. Even with the cold press one, when I was comparing with the harsh cold press, it is still prominent. All the color, I would say, is the closest to harsh. Performance wise, from what I've heard, it's closest to harsh. So yeah, that's it. Oh, it's been like 2 hours already. Thank you guys for keeping me company today. Let's take some last minute questions if there are any, or if you guys want to see anything that I might have missed, just let me know. I'll just turn this around. Okay, just 1 minute. Okay. I'm tired now. Okay, really enjoyed the session today. Thank you so much. Thank you. What is the warm colors you used today? I've only used 3 colors today. One was ultramarine blue. The other one, the red one, is Indian red. And the yellow is yellow ochre. So just 3 colors in different varying proportions. I'm blind, practically blind right now. It was great, Nisha. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you. I'll try to do more lives, but it's just the nerves. They're too much for me. But I hope you enjoyed the session. You got some information regarding the Baohong paper. If you still have questions, you can either DM me or drop in a message to KDS Art Store. Also, I've pinned the discount code. If you want to go and buy something today, there's 20% discount site-wide at kdsartstore.com. My voice is gone. I'm so sorry. My voice is gone. So yeah, there's a discount running right now. That's just for today. It's 20% across the site. If you want to go buy something, if you have something on your wish list for a very long time, just go ahead and buy it. Okay, thanks a lot. Thank you for joining. Okay, and again, as I said in the session yesterday that we had at my account, if you have a painting that you painted using this reference photo in your style, and you painted again today with me or after the session in your using the techniques or whatever I used, and you want to talk about it, get some review, or just some artist talk, how you can improve, or how some information exchange, let's do it. Just drop me a comment or message me. My account is nishasahajpal.art. I'll ask KDS to tag me in this live also. So yeah, it was great joining you guys. I'm so thankful that you guys joined me and spent some time with me. I hope you enjoyed it. See ya. Bye.